Welcome to my Inside US Politics channel. Please subscribe to my channel. The Good Morning America studio was electric with anticipation as George Stephanopoulos, polished and poised, welcomed the audience with his signature calm. Good morning, America. Today, we're joined by an icon, a two-time Oscar winner, the one and only Denzel Washington. The crowd erupted as Denzel strode in, his presence commanding, his smile warm but his eyes sharp. Assessing the room, he settled into the guest chair, exchanging quick banter with George and co-host Robin Roberts, who beamed at the chance to interview the legend. George kicked things off lightly. "Denzel, you've given us classics at Training Day, Malcolm X, Gloria, and now your new film's generating Oscar buzz. How do you keep raising the bar?" Denzel leaned back, his voice smooth. "George, it's about the work. Find a story that matters, and give it everything." The audience clapped, but George's smile had a glint of mischief. "Sure, but with a career like yours, there's gotta be some battles behind the scenes, right? Any directors or studios you've butted heads with?" Denzel's smile tightened, his fingers drumming lightly on his knee. "Battles? I pick my fights carefully, George. I'm here for the art, not the drama." The crowd chuckled, but George pressed on, his tone sharpening. "Come on, Denzel, you're a titan in Hollywood. There's talk of a feud on one of your sets and maybe a certain director who called you intense. True or not?" Denzel's eyes narrowed, his voice steady but firm. "Intense? I call it commitment. You don't get to this level by going along to get along." The audience murmured, sensing a shift. George, undeterred, leaned forward. "Fair. But there's a story floating around. Some say you walked off a project years back after a clash over creative control. Care to clear that up?" Denzel's jaw clenched, his response measured but pointed. "George, you're digging for gossip." "I don't walk off sets. I finish what I start." The crowd cheered, but the tension was palpable. George, sensing a spark, pushed harder. "No gossip. Just curiosity. You've worked with the biggest name. Is there any truth to rumors of a rift with a certain A-lister? Fans want to know." Denzel's laugh was sharp, almost a scoff. "Fans want to know about my work, not made-up feuds. I don't play the rumor game." The audience roared, split between support and anticipation. George, ever the journalist, didn't back down. "But Denzel, your intensity—it's legendary. Some say it's why you're not in every blockbuster. Is that fair?" The words hit like a jab. Denzel leaned forward, his voice rising. "Not in every blockbuster? I choose my roles, George. I don't need a studio's permission to prove my worth." The crowd erupted, some chanting his name. George tried to pivot. "Let's talk about your new film," but Denzel cut him off, standing abruptly. "You know what, George? I came here to talk about my craft, not to be your headline. I'm done with this." He tossed his mic onto the table, the clatter echoing as he walked off, the audience gasping and cheering in a chaotic mix. George sat stunned, Robin reaching to steady him as the camera zoomed in, capturing the raw shock. The show cut to commercial, but the moment was already viral, with X-posts exploding. Denzel just honed GMA. And George pushed too far. The studio buzzed with whispers. Had George crossed a line? Or was Denzel's exit a flare of ego? The internet was alight, clips spreading like wildfire, setting the stage for a cultural storm. As Good Morning America returned from commercial, the studio was still reeling from Denzel Washington's dramatic exit, the audience's energy a mix of awe and disbelief. George Stephanopoulos, regaining his composure, flashed a strained smile. "Well, America, that's live TV for you," he said, his voice light but tinged with unease. "Denzel Washington, folks, a legend who doesn't hold back." The crowd laughed, some cheering Denzel's name, others murmuring over the shock. Robin Roberts jumped in, her tone soothing. "Denzel's passion is why we love him, right? Let's give him a round of applause." The audience obliged, but the divide was clear. Some saw Denzel's walkout as a bold stand, others felt he'd overreacted. On X, the debate was raging, with posts like, "Denzel just shut George down, icon," and "George was just asking questions. Denzel's too sensitive." Backstage, producers scrambled, debating whether to coax Denzel back or let the moment stand. George, leaning into his journalistic roots, addressed the chaos. "Look, folks, I'm a fan of Denzel's work. A Man on Fire, The Equalizer. The man's a powerhouse. But when you're in this chair, you expect some tough questions, right? The crowd clapped, but the tension lingered. George pivoted to humor, mocking himself. I've had guests get feisty, but a mic toss and a walkout, that's a new one. The audience roared, and the band played a dramatic sting, amplifying the theatrics. Offstage, Denzel's team was in damage control, fielding calls from reporters as outlets like TMZ ran headlines. Denzel's GMA meltdown shocks fans. Denzel, still in the building, posted on X, I came to talk about my work, not to feed the gossip machine. Respect the craft. The post went viral, racking up thousands of likes, framing him as a defender of integrity. George, sensing the narrative slipping, offered a half apology. If Denzel's watching and I hope I respect his passion. Maybe I pushed too hard, but that's the job. The crowd cheered, but the gesture felt calculated, a nod to the viral storm brewing online. The show's Instagram posted a clip, captioned, "When things get real on GMA." Fueling the buzz. Backstage, rumors swirled that Denzel was pacing the green room, his team urging calm while debating the return. George kept the energy up, introducing a clip from Denzel's new film, a gritty drama that showcased his commanding presence. "This is why we wanted Denzel here," he said, his tone earnest. The man delivers. The clip played, but the audience's minds were elsewhere, replaying the confrontation. On X, fans posted montages of Denzel's iconic roles, praising his authenticity, while critics dug up old rumors of on-set intensity to question his reaction. George, weaving the incident into the show, quipped, "I hope our next guest sticks around. I'm running out of mix." The crowd laughed, but the moment was bigger than the studio, a clash of titans that had turned a morning show into a battleground. The internet was dissecting every word, with clips trending worldwide. Producers, seeing the ratings potential, leaned into the chaos, while Denzel's team strategized, aware the walkout had put him back in the spotlight. The narrative was splitting. Some saw Denzel as a hero against media sensationalism, others as a star too big for tough questions. As the show continued, George signed off the segment with a nod to the drama. "Stick around, America, we've got more, and hopefully no more exits." The audience cheered, but the questions lingered. Had George's probing been fair, or had he baited a legend? Was Denzel's walkout a stand for respect or a flare of pride? The moment was already cementing itself as a defining TV event, one that would spark debates and headlines for weeks to come. The Good Morning America studio was still buzzing from Denzel Washington's explosive exit, the audience caught between excitement and unease. George Stephanopoulos, ever the seasoned host, leaned into the chaos with a wry grin. "Folks, that's what makes live TV unpredictable," he said, his voice a mix of humor and defiance. Denzel Washington, a legend who brings the fire, on and off screen. The crowd laughed, some chanting Denzel's name, others whispering about the shock. Robin Roberts, trying to steady the ship, added, "Denzel's passion is what makes him a star. Let's show him some love." The applause was loud but split, reflecting the polarized reactions flooding X. Posts read, "Denzel just proved he's untouchable," and "George was just doing his job, but Denzel overreacted." Backstage, producers were in crisis mode, weighing whether to issue a statement or let the viral moment run its course. George, sensing the need to keep control, addressed the audience directly. "I'm a huge fan of Denzel. A training day changed my life, but when you're in the hot seat, you gotta expect some heat, right?" The crowd cheered, but the tension was palpable. On X, the firestorm grew, with fans dissecting the clash frame by frame, some praising Denzel's authenticity, others calling it a diva A-lister meltdown. George, undaunted, leaned into humor. "I've had guests get spicy, but a mic toss and a walkout." Denzel's setting records. The band played a dramatic riff, and the audience roared, but the subtext was clear. The confrontation had struck a nerve. Offstage, Denzel's team released a statement. Denzel came to discuss his art, not to be ambushed with rumors. The words hit social media, fueling the narrative that George had baited him. Denzel, spotted leaving the studio, ignored paparazzi shouting questions about the meltdown, his expression stoic. On stage, George pivoted to his next segment, but not before a jab. "If Denzel's still out there, we've got coffee and a chair waiting." The crowd laughed, but the moment felt like a high-stakes gamble. The show's social media posted a clip, captioned, "Denzel brings the heat to GMA." A move that amplified the buzz. X was a battleground, with celebrities weighing in. One actor posted, "Denzel's a don't poke a legend." While a comedian countered, "If you can't handle tough questions, don't do live TV." The debate was becoming a cultural flashpoint, with outlets comparing it to infamous talk show moments like Oprah's clash with James Frey. George, sensing the narrative's weight, offered a nod to the audience. "This job's about asking questions, sometimes the hard ones. Maybe I pushed too much at Denzel. You're welcome back." The gesture earned applause, but it couldn't erase the raw energy of the moment. Backstage, producers debated the fallout, some seeing the viral clip as a ratings goldmine, others urging a fuller apology. Denzel's team, meanwhile, was strategizing, aware the incident had reignited interest in his career. From glory to his latest project, fans on X posted tributes to his legacy, while critics cited old rumors of on-set intensity to question his reaction. The clash was already being analyzed in media circles, with analysts dissecting the power dynamics of morning show interviews. On X, a viral thread broke down Denzel's body language, his clenched jaw, his piercing stare as signs of mounting frustration. Another user posted a montage of George's past edgy interviews, suggesting a pattern of pushing guests for drama. Yet, George's defenders argued he was meeting audience expectations in an era craving raw moments. As the show wrapped, George leaned into the camera, "Thanks for watching. America, I'll come back tomorrow, because who knows what's next." The crowd cheered, but the questions remained. Had George's probing been fair, or had he crossed into sensationalism? Was Denzel's exit a stand for integrity or a flare of ego? The moment was unforgettable. A collision of two giants that turned the morning show into a cultural battleground, one that would fuel debates long after the studio lights dimmed. The fallout from Denzel Washington's dramatic exit from Good Morning America was seismic, dominating headlines and social media feeds within hours. By the next day, clips of the clash with George Stephanopoulos were trending worldwide, with millions of views on YouTube and X. GMA's next broadcast saw George address the storm, his tone a careful blend of humor and contrition. "Yesterday, we had a lively moment with Denzel Washington," he said, his smile tight. "He's a legend, and I hope he knows this stage is always his." The audience cheered, but the gesture felt like damage control, a nod to the polarized reactions online. On X, posts read, "Denzel stood up to George's gotcha questions a king. And Denzel's meltdown shows he can't handle scrutiny." Outlets like Variety dubbed it a morning show meltdown for the ages, while The Hollywood Reporter questioned whether George's style had veered into provocation. Denzel, keeping a low profile, posted on X, "I came to talk about my work, not to feed headlines. Thanks to my fans for the support." The post racked up thousands of likes, framing him as a principled artist, though skeptics saw it as a dodge. Other morning show hosts, like Hoda Kotb, avoided the topic, while Kelly Ripa quipped, "Note to self, don't poke Denzel." The comments sparked laughs but fueled a broader debate about the role of morning shows in an era of polarized media. Fans revisited Denzel's career, from Philadelphia to Fences, praising his uncompromising spirit, while critics pointed to old stories of on-set intensity to paint him as volatile. George, leaning into the narrative, referenced the incident on GMA's next show, holding up a prop mic labeled Denzel's comeback mic, earning laughs but keeping the drama alive. The clash became a case study in media classes, with analysts dissecting the ethics of talk show interviews and the fine line between journalism and entertainment. On X, a viral thread analyzed Denzel's body language, his sharp gestures, his steely gaze as signs of restrained fury, while another user posted a montage of George's past probing interviews, suggesting a pattern of baiting guests. Yet, George's defenders argued he was doing his job in an era craving authenticity. The cultural impact was undeniable, with think pieces exploring celebrity, media ethics, and the pressure of live TV. As weeks passed, the fervor cooled, but the moment endured as a touchstone. A reminder of the raw power of live television. Denzel, spotted at a charity event, brushed off questions with a grin, saying, "I don't do drama, I make movies." George, signing off GMA's next show, quipped, "Come back, Denzel, we'll keep it light next time." The audience laughed, but the incident had cemented its place in morning show lore, a clash of titans that proved a single moment could spark a conversation far bigger than the studio. The narrative was split. Some saw Denzel as a hero defending his legacy, others as a star too big for tough questions. The truth, as always, was murkier, but the moment was indelible, a testament to the unpredictable alchemy of live TV, where a single exchange could redefine legacies and ignite debates that echoed far beyond the morning's broadcast.